Garcia is back with an 8-round knockout over Oscar Duarte. What does everybody think of this performance? He's back after the knockout loss to Gervonta Davis. He gets a stoppage win tonight. He's back on the winning track, and obviously the options are now pouring in as far as the opinions are concerned as to which direction Ryan Garcia should go from here. Also, how he looked tonight. All that good stuff. So let me first start out here. Paulie malignaggi of Paulie TV first and foremost. Okay, this guy was criticizing Shakur Stevenson not that long ago, a month ago, for looking boring, for looking very disinterested in the fight, for playing it safety first, all that good stuff. Shakur Stevenson fought an opponent that was probably 50 times better than the guy Ryan Garcia fought tonight. Ryan Garcia played it fully safe. He got the stoppage at the end, only because Oscar Duarte quit. All right, bro. I mean, that fight was not beaten out of Oscar Duarte. Was he very limited? Absolutely. That's why De Los Santos is about 50 times better than Duarte. You're going to criticize the way Shakur Stevenson fought De Los Santos, and then you're going to fight Oscar Duarte, who's a borderline fringe journeyman contender like this in a safety first way, like you're scared, like you're completely scared. You give him that much respect. First of all, Oscar Duarte is a guy who has to get to you before he punches. So he doesn't understand how to punch his way in. He's one of these guys where he is going to only punch if he gets to you. But he doesn't even use a jab. So on his way through that front door, you can meet him with all kinds of punches. All kinds of punches. Instead, Ryan Garcia chose to just keep pot shotting all night. He got the stoppage at the end. He landed a couple of good power shots at the end. I think he even hurt Duarte when he did get the stoppage. But really, was that enough to get the stoppage? I mean, really? I mean, the guy took a count. The guy's following Garcia all over the ring all night. He's not cutting off the ring. He's just pressing all night. Not even using a jab to close the gap. So Garcia can beat him to the punch every single time. Just so limited, basic. That guy is a perfect sparring partner. Like when you're in training camp, training for a pressure guy, and you want a guy to give you work, you hire a guy like Oscar Duarte, who's a perfect sparring partner. He's not really that good. He's tough. He's going to give you rounds. He's going to keep coming forward to you. He's going to give you that pressure look. But really, in the end, he's kind of worthless as far as climbing a ladder in any kind of way, But instead, Ryan Garcia used this guy as an opponent tonight. Try to sell him to us like he's going to be some kind of risk. Try to sell it like Oscar De La Hoya was trying to get him beat tonight against this guy first and foremost. That's wild to me. That's absolutely wild. But what's most wild that I can't get over is the fact that this guy was criticizing Shakur Stevenson a few weeks ago for not looking good, for playing it safety first against a guy who, the way Ryan looked tonight, would beat Ryan Garcia, honestly, bro. De Los Santos is I mean, it's a different weight class, but De Los Santos is a difficult opponent that nobody's gonna go next to. You know what I mean? Everybody got big mouths when guys look good against difficult opponents, but nobody fights them. Like everybody was talking about Lomachenko when he lost to Jermaine Ortiz, then nobody wants to fight Jermaine Ortiz. Now everybody's talking bad about Shakur Stevenson when he fights De Los Santos and he beats him. Who's gonna fight De Los Santos? You know what I mean? So yeah, Ryan Garcia, who was one of the most vocal guys, and he looks like this against this Duarte kid, who honestly, like I said, is about as limited as they come. So where does Ryan Garcia go from here? Listen, the world is his oyster. He sells a lot. He gets a lot of views. Any network is going to want him. Whether he's going to make nice with his promoter, Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins, I don't really know, man. I mean, it's been the soap opera of the week. I mean, Oscar Duarte was kind of like a secondary figure. He was actually not even the Oscar of the headlines with Ryan Garcia, because it was Oscar De La Hoya who was the headlines with Ryan Garcia and that soap opera they got going on. Honestly, the way Ryan looks tonight, I mean, you got to understand, this is a cash cow, Ryan, right? So the way he looks tonight, how do you risk him? You know what I mean? Where do you position him? You know what I mean? Because, if Oscar was really trying to get Ryan beat, like I said in the other video, he would have matched him against a tough opponent, cashed him out, So this is not the guy you're going to cash out Ryan Garcia against, a no-name opponent. So, obviously, even going in, you had to figure this was going to be a limited opponent. Now, he was even more limited than I thought. He looked even more limited watching him tonight. But, I mean, there was never a shot at Ryan losing tonight. But who do you match him with as far as can he win the fight? This is a 140-pound weight class, guys. 140 pounds is a difficult weight class, Who do you match him with as far as it's got to be a fight he can win, but at the same time, you got to step him up. You can't keep him feeding him these kind of opponents, or people are going to get tired of it, You've already seen him against Gervonta Davis at that highest level look very, very limited. I don't know, man. The champions are tough. The 140-pound weight class is a difficult weight class. You're honestly going to wind up getting him another opponent like this, I think, man, where he's not really known, and it's just kind of just to position his name. you think about it, can he beat Teofimo Lopez? Can he beat Subriel Matias? Can he beat, the winner of Pro Gray and Haney? Can he beat even Rolly Romero, who's the WBA champion? I don't really know, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know. Hey, listen, and Ryan, as far as the physical ability is concerned, it's all there, but I don't know if mentally this kid really wants to fight, because this was a fight where you had the proper opponent in front of you, where you could have made a real statement, you've been talking a good game, people have been waiting to see you back, and the opponent, when you watch the opponent in the ring, I mean, this guy's tailor made to walk him into anything you want to walk him into, combinations, body shots, uppercuts, all kinds of creative punches you want to create off him, because he's just going to walk in the front door perfectly square, not even give you a jab. I mean, you have the entire repertoire you can basically work on against this guy and show it. And I don't know, man, it wasn't that kind of performance from Ryan Garcia. A little bit disappointing, especially after all the talk that's been going on and everything else. It's one of those situations, okay, he got the win. People are going to say, well, Paulie, you fought safety first. No, bro, I threw combinations, though. You know what I mean? Like, I threw jab, I threw combinations. I don't have the power Ryan Garcia has, but it's one of those things, like when a guy gives you open, I threw combinations. How was I going to win the fight without getting knockouts? You know what I mean? I used to throw combinations, Like, if Ryan would have Brian could have thrown in combination plenty of times. It's like instead of playing these safety first couple of pot shots here and there, when he actually put together a few punches, he ended up getting the stoppage, So I don't know, man. And I mean, it wasn't even really like a stoppage. It was, for me, Duarte quitting. I mean, a fight the fight was not really beaten out of Duarte. He just went down and he's like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to take my check and I'm done. I'm losing the fight anyway. I mean, it was the effort was almost a waste on Duarte. It was like he just came forward doing nothing. Like I said, like a sparring partner. I don't know, man. I'm still trying to think it over. It's still fresh in my mind. I don't know what you guys think at home as far as where he should go from here. And I don't want to hear like you should fight this guy just to get him beat. Like, I also don't want to hear about like the haters of Ryan Garcia, who is basically just want to see him get beat just for the sake of getting beat. Like, how do you develop this kid, right? I mean, how do you first of all make him grow up from a mental perspective, because he doesn't get along with anybody who he's been around. You know what I mean? As far as all the other big names he's been around, kind of Reynoso and Canelo. Oscar and Bernard Hopkins, Joe Goosen. There's always an excuse about why he can't get along with anybody. You know what I'm saying? So how do you first adjust his personality to where he understands the respect factor for these older, been there, done that guys who are supposed to, kind of, be guys that he's supposed to listen to, or at least if he disagrees, he can disagree amicably, respectfully, and not in the way that he's been doing it, and where he doesn't have to also, sort of acting like this spoiled child. How do you make him grow up? Because the only way you're really going to be able to compete at a high level in boxing, because boxing is like a metaphor for life, is if you have the kind of character where you can tough it out in difficult situations and not really whine and cry about it. So I don't know, man. It's a because I mean, really, Ryan probably quit against Gervonta Davis too. So I mean, how you get him mentally, not just physically tough, but mentally tough enough to deal with that upper echelon of fighter, or are we just gonna have to watch him fight guys like this? We're watching just a kid in a developmental stage constantly and not going anywhere, despite the fact that he's talked about amongst the champions, despite the fact that he talks trash to the champions, which is wild to me, considering like he's never been a world champion, considering that they just make up championships now. Did they announce him as some sort of championship fighter at the weigh-in or something like that? Like, I thought I heard that too. That's wild in and of itself. Anyway, and secondly, I forgot to mention that the kid didn't even make weight. They changed the contract for him. There's no way that contract was 143 pounds. That's my opinion on that. There's no way you're gonna have your first fight at 140 pounds and you weigh 143 and nobody says anything. And that's on him. That's not even on his opponent. His opponent probably had a drink to go to get to 142. Again, the way I'm viewing the situation, Duarte, because if Duarte would have showed up overweight, it would have been all over the press right away. It would have been all over the press. He would have got fined. He would have got suspended. All that, whatever they would have done to him. But the fact that they both weighed 143 and 142 or something like that, and nobody says anything, that means Ryan was overweight and they changed the contract. That's probably what that is. And that's another thing, dude. How do you fight your first fight at 140 pounds and probably miss weight to the point where you got to make them change the contract? That's another thing, a little tidbit from the inside of boxing. When a lot of times when the A side is missing the weight, they'll just change the contract over. When the B side is missing the weight, the guy got to go lose weight, you got to take a fine, you got to do all that crap. Anyway, man, at least in a non-title fight, you can do that in a non-title fight. In a title fight, you can't do that because the belt forces you to make the exact weight of the weight class. Anyway, man, this is Paulie Malignaggi for Paulie TV. Let me know what you guys thought of Ryan Garcia, his performance, the stoppage. Did Oscar Duarte quit? And where does he go from here? What do you think of, after he's talked that trash about Shakur Stevenson, what do you think about his approach to the fight tonight? That I really don't think he kept entertainment in mind at all. Let me know what you think, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, guys. I'm Paulie Malignaggi for Paulie TV.